James, move your head back so I can see the other two people. Daughter, bring your head forward. Mom, move your hair. Daughter, bring your head forward. Okay, I am. Alright. Let me get my Zoom action. Alright.
You got it on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's recording.
Good afternoon, everyone. Growing up, my parents worked all day and wouldn't get home till around dinner time or sometimes even after. Some days they did get home before and they would cook us dinner, but other days, if they weren't there, we would have to feed ourselves and we would have to cook for ourselves. So eventually, I had to learn how to cook meals because if I didn't, microwave dinners would be the option, ramen, beefaroni, or I'll just have to starve. I find it very valuable to teach kids how to cook while they're young. It will set great eating habits for their health and in the long run. It will also teach them to have great responsibility. I will tell you how teaching a child to cook can create good eating habits, give them responsibilities, and further benefit generation of kids. Therefore, when a child is young, our parents instill certain eating habits in us. They control whether we're eating junk food or whether we're eating good food. They choose to cook for us or they choose to take us out to fast food restaurants. A lot of parents, if they do take you out to fast food restaurants, it instills in the child that eating fast food is the way to go rather than staying home and cooking a meal. Back to the book nutrition.com says preparing foods from scratch allows children to see the difference between unprocessed foods and processed foods. When a parent cooks for a child at an early age, you basically learn everything from your parents. So when a parent is cooking for a child at an early age, they're showing the child that cooking food is the right thing to do. If a parent is taking a child out to eat at McDonald's or Wendy's every night, it's showing them that the first thing they should do is go out and eat fast food meals. And that will instill the bad eating habit of eating fast food all the time, which leads to obesity. Parents feeding kids McDonald's and Taco Bell, it's a big obesity rate in the United States right now. In New York Times, Helen Vet says kids should be taught to cook because Americans are suffering from the obesity. This is a chart from 2015 to 2016. The dark blue is children that are 2 to 19 years old, their obesity rate. From 2 to 5 years old for boys, this is their obesity rate. This is the obesity rate for girls. From 6 to 11 is the green, and from 12 to 19 is the yellow. Continuous processed foods can cause major disease in children, so you can develop diseases like high cholesterol. These are some of the diseases. The heart, you can get strokes, infractions in your stomach area, diabetes, pancreatitis, and gastritis diseases can develop, and even in your knee, you can develop gout. ChildrenDevelopment.com says teaching kids to cook can be used as an anti-obesity weapon. While cooking creates great eating habits, it as well teaches them great responsibility and basic learning skills. According to nutritions.org, teaching kids to cook helps with basic math skills, patience, and time management. The math skills are coming from them measuring the food and putting it in the measuring cup. The patience come from them learning how to finish a task from beginning to end. Most kids are in a rush to complete things, so cooking can help them learn how to start a project and finish it all the way through. Time management is them watching the food. It takes a certain amount of time to cook a meal. So if a child knows that they have to be there to watch the food from beginning to end to make sure it's not burnt, they also have to ensure that the food is being thoroughly cooked. It also shows them to do for themselves. Most kids wait on their parents to either come home and cook for them or take them out to eat. Teaching the child how to cook, they can not only rely on their parents, they can actually do things for themselves. And usually kids doing things for themselves allows them to feel a sense of accomplishment. 30handmadedays.com also says making kids feel accomplished is a great thing because most kids, they find TVs and iPads and other electronics very exciting, but if they can actually do hands-on stuff that will help them in the long run, that's also good values to teach the kids. Finally, teaching kids how to cook affects their families in the future. If a parent doesn't know how to cook because they weren't taught to cook as a kid, it's gonna travel on to their children, and they're gonna just take their children out to eat all the time. They're never gonna cook for their children. If they do cook for their children, it might be microwavable food or very processed foods. So this bad habit of them not being able to cook will go on to their children, and then it could eventually be passed on to their children if nobody takes the time out to eventually learn how to cook. Because they have no knowledge of what a home-cooked meal is, and they have no knowledge of how to cook a home-cooked meal. HeartofMichelle.com says that 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds to this day in the United States do not know how to cook because they weren't taught as kids. If those kids don't feel motivated to grow up eventually and cook, then nobody will ever know how to cook, and they'll continue to be an obesity rate in the United States. In conclusion, all parents and mentors should take the time out to teach their kids not only how to cook, but good eating habits. They should teach that home-cooked meals are better than processed foods. All kids need to start their lives with good eating habits that will help them live a longer and healthier life, and this all starts by teaching your kids how to cook. Now, I will open up the floor to questions.
I'll take the first question. I like the fact that your argument that kids should learn how to cook at I guess a very young age. But what age would that be?
From my research, I conclude that the age to properly start letting kids cook and even trust them to cook on their own would be about 10 years old, where they actually are aware of what all is going on.
Okay. Is there a scientific age or standard age that you read upon that said that what standard age that parents should teach the child?
No, most of the ages were just about guesstimates of what people think would be the proper age. There wasn't a complete exact.
Okay.
Like what types of foods you learn how to cook at an early age?
A lot of breakfast foods are good to start teaching kids how to cook because they're easy to cook. Like eggs, for instance, they only take about 5 minutes, and I mean you can burn eggs, but it wouldn't. It's hard. They're hard to burn, so it wouldn't really be a hard thing to teach your kid how to cook.
Should kids be allowed to cook when their parents are home?
It depends on if the parents can trust them to cook the food. When the kid is learning how to cook and they aren't grasping the idea, I would recommend that the parent leaves the kid alone to cook at home. But if they do grasp the idea and they understand and they did it multiple times and show the parents that they can do it, then yes, you can leave your kid to cook alone. I want to thank you all for coming and participating. Thank you.
Which one?